Well, you're right, that reading through all of his materials, or the materials that are purported to be his, he sounds quite mad, out of his mind. But there is a thread through the material that really seems pretty clear, and that ideas like the idea of the only legitimate currency being backed by gold and silver. You know, that's a core idea of the radical right in this country. The idea, weirdly enough, of controlling grammar, of somehow the government using grammar to control the people, is an idea that exists on the radical right. There's meant to be conscious streaming, which is an idea that also has been kind of tossed around on the radical right in particular. So a lot of these ideas, his burning of the flag, his talking about the government as treasonous, and using mind control to control the rest of us and so on, these are all ideas, or kind of shards of ideas, that exist very much on the radical right and beyond. But what the evidence suggests is that this is a man fired up, presumably by some of the very hot commentary out there, who felt that it was time to go out there and act. He clearly had been influenced by the tax protesters on the radical right.
Or does it simply underscore why such language, no matter what direction it's pointed in, is so ill-advised?
In Senator-elect Brown, we have an irresponsible, homophobic, racist, reactionary, sexist ex-nude model, teabagging supporter of violence against women and against politicians with whom he disagrees.
I think the latter. I think there's no exoneration for the people who talk about, you know, who repeat these kinds of falsehoods on the air and in public squares.
Kind of rhetoric that flows from people like Rush Limbaugh, in my judgment, he's irresponsible, uses partial information, sometimes wrong information, attacks people, angers them against government, angers them against elected officials, and that kind of behavior, in my opinion, is not without consequences, and I think he's irresponsible.
Is it right to link it to this horrible incident?
Well,
what I'm wondering is, do you have reason to believe that this particular suspected killer was taking in information or was in any way influenced by the vitriol or the rhetoric that you're referring to that, you know, has been out on the airwaves?
If your question is specific, I have to be specific and say I don't have that information yet. The investigation is in its very initial phases.
We need to put the guns down. Just as importantly, we need to put the gun metaphors away and permanently.
These are all ideas, or kind of shards of ideas, that exist very much on the radical right. And
we need to put the guns down.
So a lot of these ideas, his burning of the flag, his talking about the government as treasonous, and using mind control to control the rest of us and so on, these are all ideas, or kind of shards of ideas, that exist very much on the radical right.
We need to put the guns down.